Hello again and welcome to This Month in the Chambers. The April meeting of the City Council was filled with proclamations along with great pride in our community. First, Councilwoman Michelle Renning read the proclamation for the 25th anniversary of the Food City 500. The Food City 500 has become a staple of Bristol racing with each race season since 1992.
As 2017 marks the 25th anniversary of Food City's corporate sponsorship of the Food City 500 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway, and whereas Food City operates over 134 stores in Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky, and Georgia, as well as the corporate offices located just miles from Bristol Motor Speedway, and whereas Food City actually dates back to 1918, having always been community-oriented and involved in local efforts, and whereas Food City is the second longest running race sponsor in NASCAR, and the company has contributed over $500,000 to local organizations through its annual family race night events, and whereas since 1992, Food City and Bristol Motor Speedway have been successful partners that have prided themselves on bringing the best possible experience to race fans from around the world, and whereas Food City is the cornerstone event of the 2017 Spring Race Weekend and one of the most anticipated events on the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and whereas the Food City name has become synonymous with NASCAR racing in the region due to its sponsorship of two of the sport's most popular races, the Food City 500 and the Food City 300 at Bristol Motor Speedway, and whereas the 2017 Food City 500 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race will take place on Sunday, April 23rd, and to honor the 25th anniversary of Food City sponsorship, Bristol Motor Speedway issues a special edition race logo and branding for the race, and whereas making the city of Bristol, Tennessee a top destination for NASCAR fans, therefore be it resolved that Chad Keene, Mayor of Bristol, Tennessee, does hereby proclaim Sunday, April the 23rd, 2017, as a day of celebration in the home of Bristol Motor Speedway in recognition and admiration of this exceptional partnership, the 25th anniversary of the Food City 500, this fourth day of April 2017.
Next, Councilwoman Lee Powers read the proclamation to designate April 28th as Bristol Arbor Earth Day. Parks and Recreation Superintendent Mr. Mike Music accepted the proclamation.
So whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper products, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business area, and beautify our community, and whereas Arbor Day, Earth Day, is a unique celebration focusing not on the past but to the future. And by planting this small tree, we affirm our faith in the future. And whereas the city wishes to thank the tree board members for their efforts in helping to improve the quality of life in our city, now therefore Chad Keene, Mayor of the City of Bristol, Tennessee, does hereby proclaim April 28, 2017 as Bristol Arbor Day, Earth Day in the City of Bristol, Tennessee, and urge all citizens to plant trees and commend them for their efforts in reforesting the city.
On behalf of our tree board, who does such diligent work with trees in our city, as well as all our city workers who plant and maintain trees on a daily basis, thank you all for this recognition, and would like to invite everyone on council to come out to Anderson Elementary School on Friday, April 28th to enjoy and celebrate as part of our tree planting ceremony there. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Next, Vice Mayor Jack Young read the proclamation designating April as Fair Housing Month in Bristol. Our Director of Community Development, Mr. Brian Rose, and our Community Development Specialist, Ms. Christina Blevins, accepted the proclamation.
Whereas April 27, 2017 marks the 49th anniversary of the enactment of the Fair Housing Act, and whereas legislation passed by Congress in 1968 seeks to eliminate discrimination in opportunities and to affirmatively make housing choices available for all Americans, and whereas the ongoing efforts to ensure equal housing opportunity for all citizens is not the exclusive role of the federal government, but also requires state and local government efforts to combat housing discrimination as well, and whereas the City of Bristol, Tennessee utilizes a Department of Community Development to implement an effective and responsible fair housing program, and whereas it is the intent of this City Council to encourage the unified efforts of federal, state, and local governments in promoting housing opportunities for all Americans. Now therefore, I, Chad Keene, Mayor of the City of Bristol, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim April 2017 as Fair Housing Month, this 4th day of April 2017.
So during the month of April, as well as throughout the year, all citizens are encouraged to be aware of their responsibilities to uphold the laws that protect our rights to equal access to housing opportunities, regardless of race, color, sex, religion, national origin, disability, or familiar status. So thank you very much.
Next, we had Councilwoman Margaret Firerobin read a joint proclamation between both Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia, designating the week of April 9th through April 15th as National Library Week in Bristol.
Libraries are not just about what we have for people, but what we do for and with people. Whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions, and library workers and librarians fuel efforts to better their communities, campuses, and schools. Whereas librarians are organizers and information experts who for centuries have guided people to the best information resources. Librarians provide more than facts. They provide the expertise and services that add meaning to those facts. Whereas librarians continue to fulfill their role in leveling the playing field for all who seek information and access to technologies, especially as our society is at a critical juncture regarding the changing information landscape and the skills needed to thrive in our digital world. Whereas libraries and librarians are looking beyond their traditional roles and providing more opportunities for community engagement and delivering new services that connect closely with patrons' needs. Whereas libraries and librarians open a world of possibilities through innovative STEAM programming, that's STEM with arts added, makerspaces, job-seeking resources, and the power of reading. Whereas libraries support democracy and affect social change through their commitment to provide equitable access to information for all library users, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. Whereas libraries work to serve all community members, including people of color, immigrants, people with disabilities, and the most vulnerable in our communities, offering services and educational resources that transform communities, open minds, and promote inclusion and diversity. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the mayors of both Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia proclaim National Library Week, April 9 through 15, 2017, in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia. They encourage all residents to visit the library this week and explore what's new at your library and engage with your librarians. Because of you and our experts in the library, libraries transform. This 4th day of April 2017, signed by Bill Hartley, Mayor of Bristol, Virginia, and Chad Keene, Bristol, Tennessee, Mayor of Bristol, Tennessee.
Thank you so much to the Bristol, Tennessee City Council for this recognition of National Library Week. The amazing staff at our Bristol Public Library is working hard to follow our mission to expand minds and build community. Since July, our staff in the Jones Creativity Center have logged over 1,800 teaching hours, helping our community members learn computer skills, how to write a resume, how to conduct job searches, among many other things. Also since July, we have answered over 15,000 reference questions, held over 700 programs for over 11,000 participants, and circulated close to 190,000 items. We've been a little busy downtown and at Avoca. We have many events scheduled for next week to help us celebrate, like a movie showing of the movie Matilda, a 3D printer demonstration, and a genealogy class. On Sunday, to kick off the event, on Sunday, April 9th at 3, we have the Beaver Creek Storytellers at the library to do a little storytelling. And on Saturday, April 15th at 10 a.m., the Children's Library is going off-site to have Go Fly a Kite Day at Steels Creek Park. The Bristol Public Library belongs to this community. I'm so proud to be a part of it and all that we have going on. Even beyond National Library Week, there's always something to do, learn, or see at the Bristol Public Library, and we encourage everyone to come and enjoy their library. Thank you again to the council and the city for this honor.
And finally, the City Council made a very special recognition of Miss Kayla Eads.
Tonight we have a very special recognition, a life-saving one. Tonight we're honoring a young lady from our community who made a split-second decision and saved a young child's life. We're indeed lucky and very proud to be able to say Kayla Gabrielle Eads is a Bristolian. On February 28th, Kayla was working her evening shift at Powell's on the Volunteer Parkway when a very upset mother walked up to the drive-thru holding her lifeless child in her arms. The mother then asked if anyone in the building knew CPR. Without hesitating a single moment, Kayla ran out of the building where she laid the toddler on her apron to avoid the wet pavement and began performing CPR. Kayla was able to resuscitate the child. Within 3 minutes of the 911 call, the Bristol Fire and Rescue Team was on the scene and took the child to the hospital. Kayla's a senior this year at Tennessee High School and will graduate in May. She learned CPR in one of her high school classes and had received certification in the technique. In talking about the ABC Nightly coverage, she received Kayla as saying, "It's humbling my heart to know that such a small act of kindness as to help a mother in her need with her child's body laying limp in her arms is held to such high accomplishment. It is important to realize we cannot do anything in this life alone. This is not the type of miracle that is man-made." Can we now play the video, please?
Finally tonight here, our person of the week. There are so many quiet heroes across this country. Tonight, the young woman at a fast food restaurant jumping in when needed. Bristol, Tennessee, outside Pal's Sudden Service fast food restaurant, the white minivan pulling up. A mother, her 3-year-old toddler limp in her arms. She had just placed an order when she turned around and realized her son had stopped breathing. She ran up to the window for help. 18-year-old Kayla Eads, who works there, runs out and gives the boy CPR. She'd taken a CPR class at her high school. You can see the chest compressions. Kayla said she noticed he began to start breathing again, but faintly. Mom waiting on the phone, kneeling down, the ambulance arriving in less than 3 minutes. And just listen to how humble Kayla is about what she did.
I don't like the term hero because if you see a child or anyone hurt for that matter, that you're going to try and help.
She finished her shift and then went to visit that boy in the hospital.
It was something I remember forever. The blank look in his eyes whenever I first started to seeing him at the hospital was a total change, and it was amazing.
One of the most special presentations that I think I've ever given within the City Council. We very much appreciate you watching today. Thank you a lot.